In the year 2000, Nokia made half of all the mobile phones on Earth. Half of every phone on the entire planet. They were untouchable, unstoppable, the most powerful tech company the world had ever seen. So how did a company that dominant disappear from your pocket in less than a decade? This is the story of the greatest corporate collapse in tech history, and the lessons are terrifying because it could happen to any company, even the ones you use right now. Nokia started in 1865, not as a phone company, but as a paper mill. Over the next century, they reinvented themselves again and again. Rubber boots, television cables, and eventually, mobile phones. By the late 1990s, they were the coolest brand on the planet. The Nokia 3310 wasn't just a phone, it was a cultural icon. Snake, interchangeable covers, a battery that lasted an entire week. At their peak in 2007, Nokia controlled 49% of the global smartphone market. 49%. Their profit margins were legendary. Wall Street loved them. Governments feared them. Competitors tried to copy them. But 2007, that year is very, very important because something else happened in 2007. January 9th, 2007, San Francisco, California. Steve Jobs walked onto a stage and said 6 words that would change everything. Today, Apple is going to reinvent the phone. Nokia's engineers watched the keynote and laughed. They genuinely were not scared. Their internal reports called the iPhone niche, too expensive, no physical keyboard, never gonna work. Nokia's CEO said, and I'm quoting directly, "We don't see this as a threat." That one sentence, that one moment of pure, breathtaking arrogance cost them everything. Because while Nokia was busy congratulating themselves, Apple was quietly building something Nokia had never seen before. Not just a phone, an ecosystem, an app store, a way of life. And then in 2008, Google dropped Android for free to every phone manufacturer on Earth. The entire market shifted overnight, and Nokia stood completely still. Here's what most people get wrong about Nokia's collapse. It wasn't just about the iPhone. Nokia actually had a touchscreen smartphone in development before the iPhone was even announced. They had the technology, they had the engineers, they had the money. So what went wrong? 3 words: fear, ego, and bureaucracy. First, Nokia killed their own touchscreen phone because they were terrified it would eat into their existing sales. They were so desperate to protect what they had, they refused to build what they needed. Second, their operating system, Symbian, was designed for button phones. Adopting it to touchscreens was like trying to teach a fish to climb a tree. Developers hated it. Apps barely worked. Thousands of apps flooded Apple and Google. Nokia got dozens. But the third mistake, that's the one that really hits. Research from inside Nokia revealed that employees knew they were falling behind. Middle managers knew Symbian was failing. But nobody told the people at the top, because the culture was so toxic, so punishing, that delivering bad news could end your career. So managers lied. They dressed up bad numbers. They told leadership exactly what leadership wanted to hear. Nokia didn't just lose to Apple. Nokia lost to itself. By 2011, Nokia's market share had collapsed from 49% to under 15%. They brought in a new CEO from Microsoft, Stephen Elop, hoping for a miracle. He sent out an internal memo comparing Nokia to a man standing on a burning oil platform. "We are standing on a burning platform," he wrote. The memo leaked. The whole world read it. They abandoned Symbian and bet everything on Windows Phone, a platform almost nobody wanted. In 2013, Microsoft bought Nokia's entire phone division for $7.2 billion. 2 years later, Microsoft wrote off $7.6 billion, basically the entire value of what they had just bought. It was over. The company that once put a phone in half the hands on Earth was gone. So what can we actually learn from this? Nokia's story isn't really about technology. It's about human nature. It's about what happens when success makes you comfortable, when comfort makes you blind, when blindness makes you arrogant. The companies that survive aren't the ones with the best product today. They're the ones willing to kill their best product to build something better. Apple does this constantly. They made the iPod obsolete with the iPhone. They would rather destroy themselves than let someone else do it. Nokia couldn't do that, and it cost them everything. The real question isn't what happened to Nokia. The real question is, which company today is making the exact same mistakes? If this video made you think, hit that subscribe button. Every single week, I break down the biggest collapses, comebacks, and corporate wars in history. Drop a comment below. Which company do you think is the next Nokia? I read every single one. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.